So the past couple of weeks, I've been getting a ton of comments asking me to do an ORCUST upload. Ever since the ban list was announced, and they announced they're giving us back our starter monster, a lot of people are really excited to give ORCUST a go again, and I'm obviously very happy to do an ORCUST upload. But let's all get on the same page before we get into it. ORCUST is an archetype right now, isn't anything too special. The archetype itself and the cards in it aren't exactly bad, they're still pretty decent for the modern era. The issue is, all the limitations on it, specifically on the field spell and the limit 3s, make it really hard to pair ORCUST with other stuff, which for an archetype that loves to be paired with things, is a really big deal. But with all that being said, the archetype is most definitely still playable and can still be used to climb the ranked ladder. It just takes a little bit more work to find really cool end fields and really cool spicy tech cards you might not have seen before in order to make the archetype function well. Let me show you. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see some more content just like this in the future, more deck lists just like this in the future, please do remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's jump into this deck list. So first things first, of course, we're using the skill Revolution de Fleur, which isn't exactly a shocker for this channel. I use this skill all the goddamn time, but for specifically with ORCUST, you really should be playing this skill. Playing it without the skill, just playing some pure ORCUST deck list, it's just not going to function in the modern day. The end field you're setting up in pure ORCUST without the skill is literally 1 disruption pass, or sometimes 2 if you can get the link monster on the field, but that link monster is just, it's not particularly great, so you're just really getting just Dingirsu pass, which completely just is not enough in the modern era. Especially considering with the older versions of ORCUST, you could just play a shit ton of limit 3 trap cards. You can't do that anymore, because obviously ORCUST has a bunch of limit 3s. So I really recommend playing Revolution de Fleur, because without it, you're setting up basically nothing, and with it, you're setting up your standard ding removal, but you're also setting up 2 big synchro boys as well. You're going to be setting up a copy of your recently unlimited Draco Berserker, and of course a copy of your Clearwing, which is a really good card against Hero currently, which is a very popular deck list. So how exactly does this deck list function? Well, going first, you want to get one of your 2 starter monsters into your opening hand. ORCUST Harp Horror, or a copy of your Scrap Recycler. We have 3 copies of Small World to also help search for these. This means going first, you have about a 73% chance to open one of these 3 cards. That's a little bit more bricky than your standard archetypes, and of course Small World isn't 100% guaranteed, as you have to open another dark monster with it, otherwise it doesn't really work too well, obviously. So keep in mind, this archetype is going to brick a bit more than your standard archetypes. You just have to deal with that. Unfortunately, ORCUST is still limited to 3, so you can't even play 3 copies of Harp Horror. And of course, Armageddon Knight is still limited to 3 as well, so you can't play that. The archetype is just going to be innately a little bit more bricky than your standard stuff, and there's not really much you can do about it. You just have to deal with it. So it's not enough to sort of deter you from playing the archetype entirely. You can still climb the ranked ladder, and you're going to open it consistently, just not as consistently as playing like a meta archetype or something. Once you have your starter monster, you're going to normal summon it, and then you can perform a bit of a combo. Now, I'm not going to explain the full combo to you now, as there's not a whole lot of point. I'm going to show it to you a whole bunch during the gameplay portion anyway. But basically, once you do your full combo, you're going to end on an end field of your field spell, your Dingirsu on the field, and 2 synchro monsters, your Draco Berserker, and a copy of your Clearwing Synchro Dragon. So basically, a banish effect when your opponent tries to use a monster effect, 2 negates, 1 for targeting, and when your opponent tries to use a level 5 or higher monster, and you can have your Dingirsu on the field with the field spell ready to use a whole bunch of ORCUST effects in the graveyard. But the issue is, of course, Dingirsu is on the field, which is really good in the hero matchup because they try to summon that big dude that tries to nuke your whole field. Dingirsu obviously says no to that, and of course Dingirsu defends your back row from being destroyed and defends from Dark Hole and other things. But the issue is, with Dingirsu on the field, is you can't use its removal effect. So we want this card in the graveyard. How do we do that? We're playing a whole bunch of back row to specifically put it in the graveyard and give us a nice little effect at the same time. So obviously Droplet sends things from the field to negate things, we've got your Ballista Squad sent to the graveyard to pop cards, and we're also playing Dark Light. I was asking in my Discord for cards that send things to the graveyard for little effects, And someone in my Discord recommended this card, which is a card I've never even seen before, and it's a really cool card to use with Dingirsu. Tribute 1 Dark monster with 1500 or more attack, destroy all special summon monsters that were special summoned this turn. Really cool card. Obviously it has its downsides, since if your opponent already has their monsters on the field, you can't really use this on a follow-up turn to remove the things that were already summoned previously on previous turns. It also requires things with a bunch of attacks, so your opponent droplets your field. That could be a little bit annoying sometimes. But overall, it's a really cool card. I'm so glad someone recommended it to me, because, yeah, you'll see it a bunch in the gameplay. Really cool card. And the whole point is, you want to get Dingirsu in the graveyard, this thing is a way to do it. As for the rest of the deck list, obviously, it's just stuff you've seen before, so there's not much point me going through it. So without further ado, let's check out some gameplay. Alright, so today I've saved 7 replays to share with you guys. With this archetype, I started at Legend 1, and I climbed all the way up to Legend 3, which isn't King of Games yet, but does show this archetype can still climb in the modern era. It's just going to take you a lot longer than if you played some meta archetype or something. But thankfully, ladder isn't exactly the most insane competition around, so you can still play this archetype and still climb with it, especially considering I've tried to build this end field with hero specifically in mind, so you can beat a lot of hero players, which is the majority of the ladder right now. You'll see I think most of these replays are against hero actually. Hero, 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 and yeah, 4 hero players or 3 hero players, whatever it was. There's plenty of them on the ladder, and the end field is designed with hero in mind, so you can climb the ladder with this deck list. That's basically the whole point I'm trying to get at. Anyway, let's jump into these replays. So if you do plan on picking up this deck list, do keep in mind, it's not anything top tier or anything meta relevant. I wouldn't take it into a tournament and expect to win or anything like that. It's just, if you want to play ORCUST, this is a cool little way you can still do it. Still do so. Alright. So up against a Blue Eyes first. I do enjoy bullying some Blue Eyes players. And I think this was going first, I think? Oh no, we're going second. Alright. It's got a whole bunch of ORCUST cards. So I saved this replay despite being against Blue Eyes, which isn't exactly the most insane archetype anymore, because it showed off a going second hand that wasn't just opening Droplet or opening your the Fluor card that pops a card and pops a card. Because normally if you don't open those 2 cards, they're obviously your best going second cards. So I want to show a replay where you go second and you don't open them, because the deck can still do stuff without it. It's just it's a lot easier to pilot going second when you do open those cards, or open Small World to search for one of them. Alright, so this dude's a whole bunch of Blue Eyesy stuff. It's funny when people summon this card. This card is like sometimes useful against ORCUST, but a lot of the time it actually just doesn't really do a whole lot. You'll see. Anyway. So normal summoning my ORCUST monster. If I summon the ORCUST Harpura, it means if your opponent has an effect Veiler or something, obviously it doesn't matter here, but if your opponent has an effect Veiler or a negate or something, rather than summoning the Scout Recycler that can be negated, this one can't, so obviously it's better to start with this one than starting the Recycler to avoid getting negated. Alright, changing the level, making a Chevalier. Huge Chevalier animation. Haven't seen this in a while actually, because I normally skip the animations. Bam, and now we have a negate set up for any of these back row, depending on what he tries to use. Alright, summoning to the field, these 2 can now become a link monster, making a Nightmare Phoenix, discarding, popping a back row. Uses Crackdown, I'm not going to negate that obviously. Use Successor's Soul, I don't know why he used Successor's Soul here, I'm just like, okay, sure, this card's still going to get popped and I'm still going to get this back, I'm not going to negate this. Alright, Harpura banishing, summoning to the field. Nightmare banishing. World 1 banishing, reviving. These 2 then become a Galatea. Can make Dingirsu. Obviously I've got a negate on field already, so this duel's over. I think he just concedes here. Yeah. It's a nice little example of going second. So a really cool thing with this archetype, which is with ORCUST decks in general, a lot of the time you can climb a bunch, especially with Fluor. Just getting the level 1 whatever it's called, flower on the field, whatever it's called, you send to the graveyard to make a link 1, bring it back, that's already a link 2 you can make. Combine that with the ORCUST stuff, you just climb and climb and climb, go into both Nightmare monsters, remove a whole bunch of stuff. An 11 win streak hero. Forgot this guy was at a high win streak. I think we go second with this one too. Don't worry, there's a bunch of going first replays here too, it just happens to be the first 2 we're going second. Alright, and this time we actually did open the sausage, so very nice. And we can use the small world to send this Necroflora and banish it to search for ORCUST cards very easily. Small world isn't too complicated with this deck, because a lot of the time you're just banishing a dark monster to get hold of the dark monster. You can even banish the machine, because this thing's a machine, to get a hold of the scrap recycler, who's also a machine, but he's not doesn't have any shared other things. Alright, so pretty standard sort of hero-ish end field. Gonna obviously Sausage, pop a card, hopefully hitting the Sewer Poly. We missed it. That's fine, because we can still use the... I don't know why he popped this here. He could also he actually does Sewer Poly here. I don't think he realized he could have Sewer Poly'd both these cards. Or he didn't want to, because he could just use the hero and the dark monster to make the dark one maybe, but maybe he wanted to make Sunrise. Either way, doesn't particularly matter, because we've cleared up all the disruption now, so we're kind of good to go. So now we can use our small world, searching for an ORCUST. As you can see, just revealed a dark monster. Pretty easy to do. Revolution to floor, placing the tuner on the field, making it level 1 so we can make this into a level 7. Could have made the level 8 there if we wanted to, doesn't really matter. Making Link Karibo, reviving the Bulb, making a Link 2, reviving the Heart once again, and now we can make your Link 3, Nightmare, can discard the World Wand. Nightmares are so good in this deck, because a lot of times you will just have ORCUST in your hand, and going second, you just make Nightmare monsters, discard them, remove your opponent's stuff, and simultaneously put ORCUST in the graveyard. It happens a lot. Even with only 3 ORCUST in the deck list, well, 4 if you count World Wand, it happens quite a bit. Your skill obviously can shuffle the cards back, but a lot of the time it's, yeah, he's conceded. A lot of the time it does happen where you got some brickier things in your hand, you just want to discard to grave. Or you don't want to shuffle back because you know you can put them in the graveyard. Alright, so I'm going first 3 plays. So going first is, it's interesting because a lot of people don't know what your cards do, they don't really, they're just hero plays, don't read. So it leads to some funny situations. I think this guy was one of them. They forget Dingirsu is a monster. There's even ways you can play around Dingirsu really easy. Like you can Sewer Poly it, when you try to use the destruction effect, you can then Sewer Poly it away whilst you're using the destruction effect, and I won't be able to defend the field. So you just need to get a hero monster and his big dude on field, and you can really clear my board quite easily. But anyway. Alright, Bulb summoning back. Half Horror gonna be special summoning. Making your Draco Berserker using the 1 and the 7. Setting to grave to put the World Wand. World Wand going to be summoning back. These two become your Galatea. Galatea going to be shuffling back into the deck, grabbing the field spell, before finally making the Dingirsu. So this isn't your optimal end field. The optimal end field, of course, will have a trap card or a spell card to send this to the graveyard, but you're still ending on 2 lots of potential disruption, and of course something to defend your field from destruction effects. If they do remove the Dingirsu, then of course, if the thing's still on the field, you can still remove your opponent's stuff. Alright, so he places his big guy on field. Alright, so without putting, if you put another hero on the field, I would probably have to negate this, because otherwise he would Sewer Poly, send Dingirsu to the graveyard, and then of course I have nothing to defend my field from destruction effects. But because he didn't, I can just sort of prevent this thing destroying my field, so just discarding cards for free. Does it again, just protect again. I'm going to use Draco this time, so I can still defend the field, but might as well banish at the same time. And he just concedes. He just does it, literally just gives up. Which is great. I don't know what his hand was, but he had nothing to play through that apparently. I only had 1 dude left, but I guess it would still been pretty hard to kill me. Alright, up against this dude next. But yeah, ultimately, you're going to have a trap card or a spell card as well to send in gear, so you have even more disruption. Alright. Up against Mr. Twitch here. So we do the same end field again, starting with Scrap Recycler. Shuffling away the bulb in a moment. Putting this dude on field. Increasing the level so then we can make our level 7. Summoning level 1, this becomes your Link. Summon back the bulb. Make sure you do it in this order, because Bulb, of course, is an Earth monster, not a Dark monster. So if you do the ORCUST stuff first, you're going to not be able to do the Bulb. Harp Horror, summoning itself to the field of the dude, making a Draco Berserker. Nightmare, increasing the attack, banishing, putting back on the field. These two become your Galatea. Shuffling back into the deck, putting the Babel on the field. ORCUST, putting this card below it. And passing the turn. Alright, so in his emergency call, grabbing a Stratos. Places this card on the field this time. Normal summoning Stratos, getting a Surge, grabbing a Soldier. Polymerization, of course, just opens this card, despite it being nerfed. Chain blocks, so we're unable to negate the effect of this. This happens a lot in Hero if they open this card. They can also do it with Sunrise as well. So you can't often negate some of their things. Alright, Miracle Fusion. Now we didn't have a negate for this though, or a chain block for this, so we can negate this. I don't know why he didn't just super play like this way first, then he could have resolved this. I don't know why he did that. Either way, we can remove his card. And he gets rid of Draco Berserker anyway, so kinda nice of him. Alright, Nightmare going to be boosting the attack to make sure this thing has just enough attack so I can use my Dark Light to nuke the field. For some reason, Dark Light doesn't work with skills, despite them being treated as special summon monsters for other cards. I don't understand. There's some weird things with the skills, because I'm pretty sure, is it the Shadow monster can swing into skills and it'll pop them because they're treated as special summon, but Dark Light can't or something? I don't know. There's some weird shit with skills. So just so you know, Dark Light pops the 2 cards, but doesn't pop the thing summoned with the skill for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure they are treated as special summon for a bunch of other cards. I'm not going insane with that. I'm pretty sure they are. For some reason, not with Dark Light. Either way, Evening Star summons back, sends his monster to graveyard, and yeah. Could even probably have sent his back row to graveyard, so we don't really care too much about this, but yeah, whatever. And him in the face. He was checking to make sure he didn't have a Kite Roy before summoning back the heart, but he didn't, so yeah, dead. Alright, yeah, I really don't know why Darklight doesn't work on skills. I'm almost certain there's a bunch of effects in this game that treat the dudes as special summon monsters on the field. If they're summoned via a skill, they're treated as special summon. But anyway. So there was a whole debate around the rocket-linked monster before that could remove special summon stuff, but doesn't count them as special summon from the extra deck, despite them coming from the extra deck or something. I don't know. It's stupid, man. Alright, either way. Did I just click on the same replay twice? I'm pretty sure I did, didn't I? Oh no, that's another hero player? Oh my god, never mind. Hold up. And am I going to edit this out of the video? No, because I'm definitely going to forget. Alright, so let's see what this guy did anyway. So once again going first. Actually very similar opening hand this time. Just didn't have the bulb with this time. So fast forward this because I'm pretty sure you've seen the combo now, so you understand what we're doing. Sign the bulb. Hope you guys are appreciating my bulb with the rush sticker on it, by the way. Just need to get that to get into the sepia. I don't know why sepia is so hard to get. I always get this stupid fucking effect, which is way worse than sepia. Alright, summons this guy out of the field. We already know how this goes. If he wants to use this card's effect, I do not care whatsoever. Just discard cards for free. Sure, buddy. Summons the liquid, revives, Stratos, gonna be trying to pop back row. Again, I just don't care. He could have actually used Super Poly here in response to the Stratos effect, then get rid of this, and then he could have popped the back row if he wanted to. That would have been actually a really good play by him, but these are hero players, so what do you expect? Could be negating the effect of the sunrise because he didn't chain block or anything, so he then super plays afterwards. Sure, gets rid of the Draco. Neos Fusion, we're now going to use our Dark Light. He summoned this card, didn't really matter if this was Rainbow Neos, by the way, would be the exact same outcome, do the exact same thing. Dark Light to nuke this card, and then we have the ORCUST and Graveyard to revive to send this thing to grave. Since he used Neos Fusion, he can't summon the big dude from it either, which is really good. And he's already dead. He'll got sausage in hand, so we just revive by using the wand, summon back the harp, pop the card, and then we can use the harp to revive the ding, blah 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 blah. Even if you had a second monster on field, he was still dead, because we could have removed another card. Actually, I had Kyroid, so... Alright, that was a pretty good replay, actually. I think he could have played it better. Like I said, with the Super Poly thing, he probably could have removed the spell card if he wanted to. But then he would have had to Super Poly Dingirsu, so then we had to deal with the 2 monsters still on field, which is pretty bad, so... I don't know, maybe that was a pretty hard field for him to deal with. So if you Super Poly Ding, he did still have 2 Synchro monsters to get through both of their effects. One was a negate, and he already used like the chain block thing, so maybe he sort of didn't have much of an option there. There's probably something else he could have done, but it's probably hard to navigate. Which is kind of the point. If you're setting up an end-field like this, at least you're setting up an end-field that makes it really hard for hero players to play the game, which is all that matters, when half the ladder is hero. Alright, so last 2 replays aren't against hero, because I try to get some that weren't against hero for you guys. Including the Legend 3 rank up to show you can climb with this deck list, which is the last replay. Alright, making the clear wing, summoning the bulb becomes the dude, summon back, harp horror, blah 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 blah, making your Tenyi. This card obviously has a lot of bad matchups, so it's pretty useless. I'm mostly using it because I know it's decent into hero, which is the majority of your matchups right now on ladder. But you could probably sneak in maybe another level 7 Synchro in the extra deck for when you get bad matchups. It does have to be a win still, but I don't know. Thankfully I don't see Salad very often, because Salad I think is actually just terrifying for this deck. I think Salad would just shit on you. But thankfully I don't really see it that often on ladder, because no one plays it, because it's just too difficult for ladder players. Book of Moon into another Book of Moon. But does that matter? Hell no. I've still got Ballista Squad. Deleting the Nightfall from the field. Summons another one, and we can literally still summon back by sending the harp. Get his shit off the field. Which I think I would remove the back row here, I'm pretty sure. Because I don't really care about him removing any of my stuff. Alright, final replay. I don't think this replay was all that great. I'm pretty sure I just drop-littered my opponent, but I wanted to save it because it was the Legend 3 rank up. So Legend 2 as you saw, and this is the rank up. So you can definitely climb with this deck, it just... Oh, it doesn't show the rank up? This was a rank up game, at least I thought it was. Pretty sure it was a rank up game, because it ended at Legend 3 after this. It's the whole reason I recorded it, but... I'll show you afterwards, I guess. Alright, so he's going to do a whole lot of Dragon Maid-y things. Dragon Maid's kind of scary, just having one Omni Negate can be a little bit annoying if you don't open Droplet, but... I'm too goddamn good at this game. Easiest top deck of my life. And we negate it. And from here, things are a lot more simple, because I can literally just use... Yeah, I can make my level 8 negate on the field. It's unlikely both these back row are actually Disruption. One's more likely the Dragon Maid trap card. So just gonna make my Chevalier. Actually, I guess the other Dragon Maid trap card is Disruption, but one of them isn't. Alright, Necro Synchro, summoning the dude to the field, making my Link Karibo. Basically just going to a Nightmare monster to discard my ORCUST Nightmare to pop some macro. Even without Mermaid, the Nightmare monsters still get used. Alright, and he just conceded. Alright, so that was a rank up game. I'm not sure why it didn't show it on here, but you can see here it was the last game I played. Yeah. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm sorry that ORCUST isn't exactly some top tier meta relevant strategy anymore, but hopefully with this deck list you have a bit of fun on the ladder with it, which is the whole point of it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Laters.
Hey big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.